Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday HOA Brunch, presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. Please sit back, relax, and join Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick for an hour of entertaining information about HOAs and HOA law.
Well, 9:08, welcome back to the Saturday HOA Brunch. I'm so excited this week, and I was recollecting how many episodes we've already done.
How many episodes, Jonathan?
I think, 906, the engineer, Frank Jolly, the legend on the sticks.
Always correcting us.
What is it, beyond it, 18, 19?
How many shows?
I think it's 19 and counting.
19 and counting. Just like the TV show that just had the child get in trouble or something for something nasty.
Something about that. Yeah, this is the Saturday HOA Brunch. This is Angius&Terry presented, and we are all about what? HOAs.
Homeowners Association.
AKA condominium associations, homeowner associations. This is all about homeowner association law and great information.
IDR, ADR.
We have a great guest in the studio.
Oh,
we'll talk about him in a minute.
He's going to keep it simple for us. He's going to keep it simple for us. These guys are
We're going to do some
shooter.
learning today.
Yep, straight shooter, and we're going to get back to the basics. We've covered all sorts of issues. We take calls. If you want to give us a call, if you have a question for us, give us a call, 888-923-1380, or you can look us up on our Facebook page, the Saturday HOA Brunch, and give us a like. I think we're at 299 likes, so it'd be nice this weekend to break through the
Knock
300
it over,
barrier.
300, yeah.
It's going to be a balmy day in Sacramento today.
That's our weather.
But it's nice to have Viana Barbu back in studio,
Yay,
the rambunctious
Viana.
Romanian. And let's introduce our guest, a legend in the industry, Mr. Joe Price. How are you doing today, Joe?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, excited to be
Welcome.
here.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thrilled to be here. Excited and definitely looking for a beautiful day.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to go out to the Diamond today, right, and coach a little softball. You run a nonprofit softball organization, and with dignity, send these young women off to college with college scholarships, and they're required to have a certain GPA. It sounds pretty, phenomenal what you're doing.
Yeah, we'll get into that. What's our show about today, Viana?
Well, so we've done all our shows from the perspective of board members and managers. So we decided today to do something a little different because most people who live in HOAs are owners and they're not on the board and they're not managers. So today's show is about HOA living, a guide for owners to what to do, what not to do, demystify some of the myths, and talk about what owners should expect.
Fantastic. Joe, let's start off with you. So can you tell a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your company?
Yeah, I sure can. I came into this industry about 10 years ago, have worked for two companies now, two of the major companies. I currently work for Socia, who is the world's largest.
A powerhouse.
Of course, thank you. Appreciate that recognition. And we're worldwide. We have, some of our offices are in Dubai, and we're South Africa, Canada, Mexico. And
Impressive. Association management, right?
All HOA management. That's what
HOA
we do.
management.
We are specializing in that.
Kind of pioneers internationally in the community association management industry, I would say.
Yeah, we kind of...
Big boys.
We refer to ourselves as a point of the spear. We're going to be leading.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we're in the cutting edge. We're out on the tip, and we're the ones who are out there doing what it takes to make things change and be better for everyone.
Okay, and everyone that we speak from, or speak with, not from, but with the associate company, it seems like everyone has the same direction, the same goal, the same plan, and it's all just how they carry themselves.
How do you get that unity?
Fundamentally.
How do you get that unity? Tell us about that.
Well, it's a key is our communication. We continually communicate and cascade the message. We actually carry a handbook that helps us, remember our values and our pillars on the direction that we're going, and what is our real vision and our focus for our association as well as our company. I mean, they are the same.
I hear you. Now, also, when you're not working, what are you doing?
Well, it depends on what you ask my wife I'm doing. My wife, has a long honey-do list, but I absorb most of my time helping with youth of the area. We actually, I'm on two other nonprofit boards, but I'm actually the founder and president of the California Yard Sharks Girls Fast Pitch Organization. Wow. And that absorbs a lot of...
How long have you been doing that?
I started it will be 15 years in the fall.
Wow.
So tell us a little bit about the organization. What do they do? How does it benefit the community? Yeah.
We actually, our goal is to help young women get to the next level and help them get to college to play ball and to get a better education, helping them move through.
Worthwhile. It sounds fun too, right?
Oh, it's outstandingly fun. It keeps girls engaged in doing a lot of great things.
So we heard that the program is actually a college prep program. What does that mean?
Well, we're less focused on winning national tournaments and more focused on getting them developed with the skill sets to be successful at the next level.
It sounds like the way that your organization is structured, based on our conversation yesterday, you have a lot of young women that are going to move forward in life. They're going to be assets to the community because of their character. Some of the just fundamental values that you instill into these young ladies. It sounds super exciting, and I hope more good things are to come because you've already signed your first professional or players signed to play professionally in Europe. So
yeah, pretty exciting. We have our first player going to play in Holland with the Hoopendorf Pioneers. So
love that name.
Yeah, we're excited for her.
Speaking of women with character, my favorite game is going to be played today, Battle of the Board Members. We're going to have Linda and Holly that's going to be playing and they are fellow board members in the association down in Modesto. So Linda and Holly, they're going to be calling in just a bit, ladies with characters. But Joe, so when it comes to your company, you're also talking about being more of a consultative. Did I say that right?
Our focus is consultative management. We want to help and be a partner with our boards, help them and consult them to, really do the right thing for the community, to enhance their assets and to build a sense of community within.
And you want to do it hand in hand. You don't want to just be out front leading the way. You kind of want to walk next to them and just give them, great tips and management structure. So it sounds like it's really going to work.
Yeah, it's definitely a true partnership. It's a consulting spot that we take and really embrace.
Yeah, we're speaking here today with Joe Price with Ashosha. So what sets your company apart? I mean, we talked about the consultative part, and you guys are just right on the money, though my understanding is what I hear about you guys all the time is with respect to getting the budget out in time and just getting the numbers right for the association so the board members can comply with their fiduciary duty.
Well, that's why we're here. Our job is to aid and to help the boards and to help them meet their fiduciary responsibilities. That's what you look for a professional for.
Fiduciary duty, yeah. And so we do want to talk about the law a little bit because that's where a quiz is going to be on. Everyone wants to learn something here. Fiduciary duty, so that's basically a three-pronged kind of a deal for board members. They have to act in the best interest of their association. They have to act reasonably, and they have to act after a reasonable inquiry. If a board member's not an expert, then they got to consult with an expert. Jonathan?
Hey, when we get back, we're going to try to help you out. If you're out there and you're going, oh, you know what, I really like this home and it's in an HOA, we want to let you know that is a great place to be, in an HOA. So when we get back with Joe Price, we're going to help give you a guide to living successfully in an HOA. Some ideas. We'll be back.
Hi, this is Phil Cowan with an exciting opportunity from AM 1380 The Answer. Make plans now for the Stand with Israel tour. We invite you to join us this fall on a 9-day trip to Israel that will offer first-hand insight into Israel's fascinating past and dramatic and promising future. Don't miss your chance to join Mike Gallagher and Dennis Prager this fall in Israel.
Hi, Dennis Prager here, and this year, be part of something bigger than yourself and stand with Israel. Spend 9 days this fall in the Holy Land with me and Genesis Tours. We'll enjoy safe, first-class accommodations and a world-class experience of a lifetime. You read about it, you hear about it, now experience it for yourself.
This is the trip that many have called life-changing. Find out why. Make your plans now to Stand with Israel with Mike Gallagher, Dennis Prager, and Genesis Tours. For all the details, visit am1380theanswer.com and click on the Stand with Israel banner. That's am1380theanswer.com.
If your community association has a good relationship with their current management company, you can stop listening. However, if you are struggling with your current service provider, we'd love to talk with you to see if Omni Community Management would be a good fit. Transparency, education, communication, and trust are just 4 of the qualities that set Omni apart. This is Rolf Crocker, CEO of Omni. Call us at 916-965-8964. That's 916-965-8964. 8964. Online at omni-mgt.com. That's omni-mgt.com. Omni Community Management, your friend in the community association management industry for over 20 years.
Have you ever heard of the saying, a person's home is their castle? Of course you have. But sometimes a construction defect can turn your castle into a catastrophe. If this happens to you, you need proper and professional representation. You need Angius&Terry, LLP. For over 30 years, the attorneys at Angius&Terry have been effectively serving homeowners and community associations, recovering more than $500 million on behalf of their clients. Angius&Terry strives to ensure that your construction defect claims are prosecuted in an aggressive and cost-effective manner. Angius&Terry will also continue to work with homeowners and community associations after the construction defect claims are concluded to make sure that the money received from builders is spent wisely and that your interests are protected during the repair process. Don't let a construction defect turn your castle into a catastrophe. Call Angius&Terry LLP today at 916-567-1400. That's 916-567-1400. Online at angius-terry.com. Angius&Terry LLP.
This is AM 1380. The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry LLP. And now your hosts Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Hey, we're back in studio, second quarter, a beautiful sunny day in Sacramento, and the freeway looks clear. So, Grandpa, don't worry, as soon as we're done here, I'll be up for the old, I think it's like 80th birthday party my grandfather's having today. So I'm excited about that, but I'm also excited because we have an industry expert / consultant to help guide us through an idea of what the benefits are of living in a community association.
And I think the distinction that we need to make first for listeners is the difference between a condominium project and a planned unit development. And I know most people know that a condominium is usually attached to other units, and in a planned unit development, you have single family homes that are separate. But what is the legal distinction? What's the difference?
Yeah, so a lot of people think of it sort of in three parts, and that's a condominium, a townhome, and then detached homes. However, really the distinction is condominiums on one side and everything else on the other. Everything else on the other side is planned developments. Really the difference is that with a condominium, they own an airspace, just an airspace. Whereas in a planned unit development, which includes townhomes and detached homes, the owner owns actually the lot itself. Does that really matter? Well, it matters with respect to maintenance. So in condominium developments, the association, the community association, they go ahead and they maintain everything outside the walls itself, outside from the paint in. So the roofs, for instance, the roofs in a condominium development, it's going to be maintained by the association, whereas in a townhome or planned unit development, that is, well, sometimes it can be maintained by the association, sometimes by the owners themselves. So we have those issues of maintenance. Also, there's something called exclusive use common area, and that's patios, carports, balconies. And so in those, it's separate areas outside the unit, especially in a condominium unit development, and oftentimes they're maintained by the association. You've got to look at those CC&Rs, new laws about that are going to come into effect in a couple of years. We'll have to be ready for those new laws about allocating the maintenance responsibilities. And so there we are, condominiums versus planned development.
And we had a discussion with Joe at lunch yesterday, and the reason that we were so enthusiastic to have you on the show is because when you work with these condominium developments and you're working with a board of directors, maybe new or experienced, what we say these acronyms, CC&Rs, and you broke that down, your kind of way of consulting and working with boards of directors, whether they're in a master plan community, a single family home development, or a condominium association. You like to break it down, and if you were a new buyer and you're moving into a condominium development with your experience to successfully live in a condominium association, what do they need to look at?
I mean, they really need to take a quick look around and understand what are their true responsibilities, and they're here to share. That's the main part. They're here to share, the common areas with each other, and especially in a condo. where you're having your interactions are very close to your neighbors and your peers, and it makes it a challenge moving forward if you don't play fair.
Right.
Yeah, and I think in condominium associations, what owners should really look for is what the restrictions are, because I think most owners don't think about what they will and will not be able to do. And a condo is a little different than a detached home. For example, increasing the noise carrying capacity of the unit is a huge deal for condominiums. So, you're walking around a new condo unit, it looks great, but the carpet's really ugly, and you're thinking, I'm going to move in, I'm going to install this beautiful hardwood floor, it's going to be great. And you realize once you buy the unit that you can't do that because it's going to increase the noise carrying capacity, and the people above you or under you are going to be really upset. So you really need to look at those restrictions when you're buying into a condo versus a detached home.
Right. Before you buy, you look at the rules themselves, right? Isn't that important, Joe?
You should definitely look at the rules, and you got to look through the rules completely. You may see something that you think is acceptable, and it may be a violation of the rules, and you're going to think that you can do the same, and you can't. You have to follow the rules, and that's what enhances your asset.
I think that we would all agree, though, certain things like putting in hardwood floors or something like that, there could be that you need to go through these governing documents, right? The rules, the CC&Rs. But there are ways, if you follow the rules, that you could make something like this happen. There's just a protocol for it, right? Generally, it's, I've got to submit these plans to the board of directors so that they can approve it. But if you're that owner that just comes in there and thinks that you can remodel the community on your own, you're going to be running into trouble.
Yeah, let's step back a little and explain how the homeowners associations are run. So I think people think that there's these strong-fisted, governing bodies, but really homeowners associations are not-for-profit corporations. So they do have articles of incorporation. There's a set of bylaws that is not recorded. There is a set of CC&Rs, and that stands for covenants, conditions, and restrictions, which provide the restrictions and obligations for the association and the owners. And then you also have rules. So what's the distinction between bylaws and CC&Rs? Why is that important?
Well, bylaws are more of a procedural document, not recorded, just with the association records. Rules, they're not recorded either. However, Joe, CC&Rs, they're recorded, right?
Yes, they're recorded. And your normal homeowner, when they're buying in, really doesn't look at any of this. They get a title company, they sign off, they're wonderful, they're thrilled, I have a beautiful new home, they're excited, and then reality sets in. When the first time they will go out and they paint their door orange and they put a beautiful pot out on their patio, and all of a sudden they find out, I can't have either.
Yeah. Hey, well, we told a story, Joe, about a couple in Florida that actually built a replica time machine from their favorite British television show, Doctor Who. And they thought, we can just put this time machine out on our driveway. How do you think that worked out?
Well, from my experience, not very well.
Yeah, absolutely. That is just a recipe for disaster. I'm excited because we are going to check in with our friends Linda and Holly, who have gracefully called in from Modesto to participate and play today in Battle of the Board Members. How are you ladies doing today?
I'm doing great. This is Holly.
Holly, it's a pleasure. Welcome to the Saturday HOA Brunch.
Thank you.
Are you enjoying yourself down in the Central Valley today?
Oh, yes. It's a beautiful day down here.
I'm going to ask you a favor. If you could please just turn your radio down a little bit. I don't know. It sounds like maybe we have some background noise.
It's down.
It's down. Linda, how are you? Well, maybe Linda.
Hello.
How are you doing, Linda?
I'm doing fine.
All right, so you guys know the drill. We've got an industry expert with us today, Mr. Joe Price, CEO of Associate Northern California. We are kind of giving a guide or a roadmap to successfully living in an HOA. Great discussion. You're going to listen. We'll check in with you in a bit, and then we're going to play at the end of our show. One-on-one, heads up, you ladies are going to have, one of you is going to have bragging rights in your community.
Battle of board members. You guys excited to play? Are you guys?
Oh, yes.
Oh, fantastic. I know you guys.
I have a question for you, though. Now, we're talking about condominiums, master plan communities, single-family home communities. What type of community do you ladies live in? What would you classify it as?
Single home community.
Single-family home community. How many homes?
266.
266 homes. And how many members are on your board?
Pardon?
How many board members do you guys have?
I'm sorry. Between trying to catch up with the radio on there and listening to you, it's very difficult.
You can go ahead and just turn the radio all the way down, and you'll be able to hear us loud and clear. Well, 5 of you are running a community of 266 homes.
Yes.
Exciting stuff, right?
Yes.
You know, I do have to mention about their association. I've been representing them for a while, and it really shines like a diamond. It looks great. The homes look great. The landscaping looks great. This board of directors, they do a great job. They comply with their fiduciary duty. They know that when someone violates, we're talking about violations before. Viana, what is in order for a board to impose discipline on an owner? Okay, right? Joe Price here with us today. He was talking about if someone violates it. You know, the thing about the phone booth in the driveway, the time machine looks like a phone booth. So there's a violation. What in order for the board to impose discipline?
So if there's a violation, there's going to be provisions in the governing documents that tell you what you can and cannot do. But there's also the Davis-Sterling Act, which is the part of the civil code that governs homeowners associations that has a procedure in place. So if there's a violation, usually you're going to have to provide a violation notice to the owner, perhaps allow them some time to cure that, and then you're going to have to call them to a hearing. It's a sort of informal hearing. It's not a court hearing. There's not going to be a judge. There's not going to be attorneys usually, but the owner and the association may have their attorneys present if necessary, and then the association may has to issue a decision in writing to the owner after this hearing, and then impose some kind of discipline. There could be fines, which would be provided for in the CC&Rs or the rules, and then there's other penalties as well.
You know, we're here with Joe Price with Associate, and so we were talking earlier about fines and about how the fines that boards impose. Joe, it's not really to make money for the association.
No, it's to encourage compliance, and that's what we're looking for. You know, living in an HOA is about being compliant and following the rules. I mean, that's what makes your HOA so great. As I heard that, we have a shining HOA with beautiful homes, and that's because people follow the rules.
Right, and the purpose of these rules and guidelines for living in an association. When you receive a notice from a board of directors, I'm sure you deal with this all the time. You have the homeowner that calls and just says, "Hey, I didn't know. I just want to make it right." And then you have the homeowner that says, "Oh no, I am going to put my chest out and I am going to fight this thing till the end of time." And really, that's just, I mean, you never know what apple's going to fall from the tree.
No, you really don't. And you work both sides. You want to help educate on both. You're there to make the compliance for making the community better.
It's all about
that's
compliance.
What it's all about. It's all about compliance.
Good tool for association boards when they are trying to gain compliance is the special individual assessment, right, Viana?
Right. So you have that's another form of enforcement, I guess you could do after the hearing. So a special individual assessment is different than any other kind of assessment because it basically makes the association whole. It covers the costs that they have incurred in bringing that owner into compliance with the governing document. So it can include attorney's fees and any other maintenance costs that the association has had to maintain. It's to incur to bring that lot into compliance.
Right. So imposed against an individual owner rather than against all the owners as a whole. Right, Jonathan?
Sounds good. You guys are the suits. So that does it for our second quarter of the show. We've got Joe Price. He's anxiously awaiting to get out to the diamond. He's got like a triple header after he does this. So he's a busy man. Viana Barbu, Brad Epstein, and then the legend, Frank Jolly on the sticks. We'll be back.
Have you ever heard of the saying, a person's home is their castle? Of course you have. But sometimes a construction defect can turn your castle into a catastrophe. If this happens to you, you need proper and professional representation. You need Angius&Terry, LLP. For over 30 years, the attorneys at Angius&Terry have been effectively serving homeowners and community associations, recovering more than $500 million on behalf of their clients. Angius&Terry strives to ensure that your construction defect claims are prosecuted in an aggressive and cost-effective manner. Angius&Terry will also continue to work with homeowners and community associations after the construction defect claims are concluded to make sure that the money received from builders is spent wisely and that your interests are protected during the repair process. Don't let a construction defect turn your castle into a catastrophe. Call Angius&Terry LLP today at 916-567-1400. That's 916-567-1400. Online at angius-terry.com. Angius&Terry LLP.
Hi, this is Rick Russo, owner of Russo Insurance Agency and Financial Services. We proudly serve Granite Bay, Roseville, Rockland, Sacramento, Lake Tahoe, and the surrounding areas. At Russo Insurance Agency, we like to say, get to know us before you need us. Our insurance agency is built on relationships and trust. If you want to be certain that your most valuable assets are insured correctly, allow us to give you more than just a 15-minute quote. For all your commercial, home, auto, and life insurance needs, call us today at 916-791-1901. That's 916-791-1901 or online at rickrussoinsurance.com. That's rickrussoinsurance.com. Thank you.
This is AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
We are moving and grooving and shaking towards the end of the show, but we're only at the halfway point. So I'm excited and I am anticipating a big battle. Big battle coming out of Modesto from Linda and Holly. Ladies, are you still there?
I am. Yes.
All right. You guys are just soaking up all of this knowledge regarding what it's like living in. I mean, you already know. You're on a board of directors. You guys would be considered experts in your community, right?
Hopefully. Yes.
Excellent.
We try anyway.
Excellent. Well, we are still glad that you're here with us. We're kind of just brushing over some of the terminology and some of the issues that we come across and questions that someone might have that wants to possibly purchase in an HOA. So hopefully, I know we're not as direct as what was the National Spelling Bee and some of the words and vocabulary that come out of that dictionary, but we've got Brad Epstein and Biana Barbu are going to start talking about, I think, fiduciary duty and all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, so one of the things I hear a lot, a myth that I always hear about board members is that it's so easy to get on the HOA board and just line your pockets with money. You know, you're making money, taking money from the HOA. It's kind of a money making machine.
Right, Joe. They get accolades for being on the board too.
So why is that not true? I mean, I cannot even count the times that I've heard that. Yeah. Like, it's so nice to get on the board, make some money. You know.
Not even close. Your board members are your homeowners. You know, they're elected. They get elected by their community, by their their peers, and they're volunteers. There is no pay here. You know, that's not what they're here for. You know, their responsibility is to enhance their assets and build community for their fellow homeowners. I mean, that's what it's all about. And then, also we have in the governing documents that, different items in the law that protects the association and gives them guidance on how to handle the business.
The rules, as it were. So fiduciary duty, again, this is the duty that board members have. And we had lunch yesterday with Joe, and he put it this way. When you're on the board, you have to make decisions that are in the best interest of the owners, not for that particular board member. You can't get on the board and start making decisions that are just for yourself as a board member. Fiduciary duty, very important. You have to act reasonably, best interest of all the owners, and you have to make decisions after a reasonable inquiry. So let's say the board of directors, they have some defects in the construction of their development, and what must they do in order to perform a reasonable inquiry regarding those defects to determine what to do? They have to consult with experts, forensic construction consultants, construction defect attorneys, right, Viana?
Right. So the key is that boards can rely on experts, and new owners in a community should realize that boards are not just running around willy-nilly, just making decisions that they don't know anything about. Generally speaking, they do rely on experts, like our professional advice as attorneys, and they have construction professionals, painters, all sorts of insurance professionals, accountants.
And you brought that up too yesterday, that actually one of the legs at the table, or I will put it in that turn, that way though, is that's where the management company like Associa, they have an experienced, seasoned manager that's worked with a lot of different experts that take care of certain business responsibilities in communities, like construction experts, and you work with a lot of them, right, Joe?
Yeah, that's our responsibility, and plus it's comes from our experience, and as we work with so many different associations and so many different vendors out there, we know who the experts are, and we get to bring them to the table to help our boards.
A quality vendor makes a huge difference when you're working with a board of directors. I think that even Linda and Holly would agree with us.
This is true. So moving on with respect to assessments, Viana?
Yeah, so let's talk about the dreaded A word, assessments. Everybody who moves into a homeowner association thinks, wait, I have to pay my mortgage, I have to pay my property taxes, and I have to pay assessments? What's that all about?
You gotta do it.
Remember when we were talking about condominium projects versus planned unit developments, that's where assessments are important, because assessments cover the expenses the association have and the maintenance obligations. So there's 3 types, right, Brad?
Yeah, 3 types. Regular assessments, that's kind of the monthly assessment. Special assessments, that's the really dreaded one. That's when your association doesn't have enough money, the association has to go out and impose a one-time assessment. And in hearings, right, with a violating owner, the association can impose a special individual assessment. That's just an individual assessment against a particular owner, and that is to go ahead and, like Viana said earlier, make the association whole for the costs the association incurred to attempt to gain compliance from an owner, or if a particular owner had maybe done something that caused damage in the common area, association could go ahead and repair that damage, and they can impose a special individual assessment against the owner for the costs that the association incurred. Special individual assessments are a direct function of the CC&Rs. If you don't have a provision for special individual assessments in the CC&Rs, then you don't get to impose a special individual assessment. The Davis-Sterling Act, Viana, what the heck is the Davis-Sterling Act? The Davis-Sterling Act. It's Civil Code sections 4,000 through 6,000. It is part of the California Civil Code, and that entire section governs homeowner associations. So how they are run, procedures for IDR, ADR, construction defect inspections, everything you need to know is right there. So to impose a special individual assessment, the board of directors must meet in executive session, right?
What's your favorite part of executive session, Joe? do you have one?
My favorite part of executive session. I enjoy the executive session with the boards because they're very, most of the boards I deal with are very in tune with the association in moving forward. And it's they're moving the business throughout. So,
well, and you also mentioned before when we've talked that you kind of have a unique role as a CEO. Even though you are on top of the ladder and you have just a wealth of great employees that work below you that you have to manage, you still take the time to go out and actually physically work directly, one-on-one with boards of directors, and you're the CEO. So you still have those relationships. I mean, that's kind of makes your position unique. Not too many CEOs running out to executive session.
Well, the key to success in any kind of business, any kind of leadership, is to set the example. So it's important that you're out there doing the work and you're understanding the same pressures that your boards and your managers going through. The rules and the laws are out there. You've got to help them and understand what it looks like, what it feels like, and be there in the trenches.
Well said. Joe Price with Associa. And that goes the same for board members, too. They have to set an example, too. They can't be in violation. If you're going to go ahead and impose a fine against an owner, you can't be in violation yourself.
All right, so let's just briefly go to a couple of do's and don'ts that we really want to get across the owners. So one of the do's is do obtain copies of and read all the governing documents before you purchase. I know we mentioned that before.
Okay.
Well, we're going to go to break. Frank, you're flagging us down. Just leave it. I mean, you're the one in control of all this.
What's next, Jonathan?
Here. Battle of the board members is coming up.
Don't go away. We have a huge battle. It's going to be awesome.
We might have a caller.
A Silicon Valley CEO is fired for opposing same-sex marriage. A teenage girl is attacked on campus for protesting abortion. And a college club loses formal recognition for being Christian. This is the country we live in today, in America, where people are punished for expressing themselves and then bullied into silence. If you don't agree with a certain liberal agenda, you're targeted for silencing. This is Eric Metaxas, and my good friend Kirsten Powers chronicles this frightening new trend in her brand new book titled The Silencing: How the Left is Killing Free Speech. With fearless candor, Kirsten gives us example after example of men and women who've been punished for expressing opinions that have been suddenly deemed unacceptable. The Silencing is a much-needed wake-up call for everyone who cherishes liberty. Who will be the next victim of the silencing?
Kirsten Powers' book, The Silencing: How the Left is Killing Free Speech, from Regnery Publishing, is now available at Amazon.com, Costco, and bookstores everywhere.
Hi, I'm Morgan Fussell. My company, Broadband Agreements, negotiates cable television and broadband right of entry, access, and compensation agreements for your communities. At Broadband Agreements, we offer a free review of all agreements with a signed letter of authorization. Broadband Agreements will improve your community's income and or savings, or you don't pay us a dime. Visit us at broadbandagreements.com. That's broadbandagreements.com. Or call me, Morgan Fussell, directly at 916-939-5026. That's 916-939-5026. Broadband Agreements online at broadbandagreements.com. or 916-939-5026.
The challenges presented by today's economy and rebounding housing market is forcing many homeowners association boards of directors to operate their HOAs more like a business. It's a balancing act of trying to stay solvent and still provide homeowners with quality amenities and services. One of the main challenges HOA boards are facing is attempting to recover unpaid HOA fees owed by delinquent homeowners. Collection efforts are often very time-consuming. If you want to get the HOA fees collection monkey off of your back, call ATC Assessment Collection Group. ATC is an attorney-supervised collection company providing collection and foreclosure services to HOAs in both California and Nevada's most recognizable communities. Get back to what you actually volunteered to do as an HOA board member. Effectively oversee your community. Call ATC today at 916-641-1410. That's 916-641-1410. Online at atcacg.com. That's atcacg.com. ATC Assessment Collection Group.
News, opinion, insight. AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
We're back, and Brad, it's your favorite portion of the show.
Yay.
Right? Battle of the board members. And we hope, before we get into that, real quick, like Viana said, the do's and don'ts, we hope that you realize if you're going to buy in an association or live in an association, obtain copies of the rules and governing documents. Make sure that you know what you are getting into with your community. But on that note, here it is, Linda and Holly down in Modesto.
Yeah.
I can already visualize you two arm wrestling in the community center conference room. Are you ladies ready to battle it out head to head for bragging rights?
We're ready. Oh, sure.
2015 champion. Okay, I'm going to flip a coin in studio. Linda, call it in the air.
Heads.
Oh, well, guess what, Linda? You didn't get it.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. You're going first, Linda.
Okay.
Called it right on the money.
Excellent. Okay, you guys, here's the rules of the game for Battle of the Board Members. We're going to have 3 rounds. The first 2 rounds are 3 questions each. The last round is going to be the lightning round. The first 2 rounds, I'm going to go ahead and say the question, and it's going to go back and forth, back and forth. So first it's going to be Linda with 3 questions, and then it's going to be Holly with 3 questions.
True or false?
True or false, right. The winner gets a $100 gift card, and the second place winner gets a $50 gift card. It's just going to be true, false, and
2 rounds, and then the lightning round.
These questions, some are a little bit tricky, and we just want to make sure that we don't have anyone that goes 100%. So this first question, right out of the gate, it might be a little bit tricky. It'll get easier after that. Linda, are you ready, true or false? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so question number 1. In planned unit developments, not condominiums, the owners own the common area.
Yes, true.
I'm sorry, that is false. That's false.
Okay.
So in a
trick question.
Right. In a planned unit development, the association owns the common area. Yeah,
Aren't
yeah.
they the owners of the association?
Well, you know
Oh,
what?
here you
She
go.
is good. She always knows how to. Yeah, well.
They pay for it.
That's true. Linda,
I think she threw her own challenge flag.
I know she's a good board member. Okay, Linda. Here's question number 2. And if we don't say it clearly, you could ask us to repeat the question. Okay, number 2, Linda. Board members have a fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of the owners as a whole.
True.
Excellent.
Got it.
That's good. Perfect. Okay. Board members do have a fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of the owners as a whole. Number 3, boards must send a decision in writing to the owner after a violation hearing. Boards must send a decision in writing to the owner after a violation hearing.
True.
Excellent. Perfect. They do. You must send a post-hearing letter.
Pretty impressive. 2 out of 3, Linda.
Thank you.
2 out of 3, and it's my teammate's turn. I just naturally am rooting for Holly. Holly, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. If you need me to repeat the question, just say, Jonathan, I can't hear you. Please repeat the question, and I'll repeat it for you. 3 questions, true or false. I think you're probably going to ace this quiz. Are you ready?
Yes.
Question number 1. Balconies, patios, and carports are examples of exclusive use common area. Crickets.
Say that again.
All right, good. Balconies, patios, and carports are examples of exclusive use common area. True or false?
I'm going to guess because I'm exclusive, meaning it's only theirs. I'm going to say true.
You got it.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Good
Okay,
job.
second question. Rules, just like CC and Rs, must be approved by the members and filed with the county recorder.
Rules don't have to be filed, I don't think, but they do have to be approved. So it would be false.
You got it.
Okay.
Last question. Formation of contracts with third parties may be discussed at open board meetings.
False.
I think we're tied. What is the
See, that one's
Romanian
true.
thing?
Yeah, it's discretionary, right,
that was
Fiona?
a tricky one. Yeah, that's discretionary.
Yeah,
and
we
I
talked
think
about
we
that one.
stumped Linda on one and stumped Holly on one. So now they're tied, 2 out of 3.
Oh, it's a tie game. Okay, we're going to go back over to Linda. Linda,
Yes.
question number 1.
Come on, Linda. Give us a little enthusiasm.
No, she's
Okay.
ready. She's serious. Okay. Question number 1. Meeting in executive session preserves the attorney-client privilege. True or false?
True.
Excellent. It does. It preserves attorney-client privilege. Question number 2, Linda. A special individual assessment is imposed equally among all owners to cover regular association expenses.
False.
You're right. You're correct. Special individual assessment. That's the one that you impose against individual owners after a hearing. Number 3. Bylaws do not have to be filed with the county recorder.
True.
You're right. Correct.
Fiona,
Nailed it.
is that a perfect round?
Yes, it is.
That's a perfect round. 5 out of 6 total.
All right. Holly, Linda is obviously either got a copy of her Davis Sterling book out or
She probably has it memorized.
she
Yeah,
really,
she has
okay.
it
So
memorized.
so you know what? It's time for your second round of questions, but you're still my horse in the race. So are you ready?
Yes.
All right. A board's fiduciary duty includes the obligation to make reasonable inquiry.
Yes.
True or false?
True.
Got it. Okay. Associations may foreclose on liens based on fines.
I missed the first part of that. Say it again.
Associations may foreclose on liens based on fines.
I don't remember. I'm going to say false.
Atta girl. 2 for 2. Last question. Because owners may not attend executive sessions, no agenda is necessary for executive sessions.
False.
Woohoo!
Wow.
Wow. 5 out of 6 for both of you. So no Googling.
Yeah.
Okay. Here it comes, the lightning round. Linda, you are up for 5 questions.
1 second. Joe, do we got a score for the ball game right now? Your team, they're playing?
Yeah, yes, we do.
We have a score for that, too. The sports update from Joe Price.
Sports update. We are up 6-0 in the top of the third.
6-0. All right. All right. Now back to the lightning
Gotta love
round.
it. That's great.
That's
okay,
great.
Fantastic. All right, so this is a lightning round. We're going to put 45 seconds on the clock, Linda, and I can't repeat the question, so hopefully I'm going to say it nice and clear, and it's just going to go shotgun right through, true, false, true, false,
There's a
whatever
reason
it
why
is.
we do it this way so that everyone has to put their tablet down.
Okay.
Right?
All right, Linda, ready?
Yes.
Okay, question number 1. In condominium projects, the association is responsible for the maintenance, repair, and replacement of roofs.
Yes. True.
Good. A homeowner buyer should not read the association's rules until after they purchase the home.
False.
Correct. Non-board members do not have the right to participate in decision-making about an association's lawsuit.
True.
Correct. A board member's fiduciary duty requires the board members to act arbitrarily.
False.
Correct.
2 seconds, 2 seconds.
A CC&R amendment is valid only if approved by the members.
True.
Correct.
Viana, update, please.
Wow, pretty impressive. 10 out of 11. This is a perfect lightning round.
All right. Well, I guess we're just going to lay it out there, Holly. I don't want to put any pressures on your shoulders. I have a ton of faith, but you're going to have to put up a perfect score to force this thing to go into overtime. All right?
Okay.
All right. All right. So 45 seconds on the clock. I can't repeat the question. True or false? Let's take down Linda. All right. First question. Part of regular assessments often goes towards reserve funds.
True.
The bylaws concern meetings, voting, and quorums.
True.
The owner of a condo owns the land on which the condo unit is built.
True.
Incorrect.
Only airspace. Only airspace. We did cover that. It is only airspace.
Okay.
All right. Fourth question. In condominium projects, improvements in a unit interior that increase noise carrying capacity are usually forbidden. So I kind of said that fast and confusing. If you're going to upgrade the interior flooring of your condominium unit, it's usually forbidden if it causes more noise. True or false?
True.
That's it. Special assessments are usually imposed when there is an unexpected budget shortfall. There you go. And you
Correct.
did great. 4 out of 5. Viana, can you give us the final score?
The final score. Holly, you're at 9 out of 11. And Linda, pretty impressive, 10 out of 11. I think we have a winner.
I told you guys would do great.
They did great.
Awesome.
Ladies, thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much, you guys. A $100 gift card to Linda, a $50 gift card to Holly. You guys, tink you. Did you guys have fun today?
I did. Yes.
All right, good,
Great.
good.
Absolutely. You guys
I
impressed
have
us.
to dispute question number 1.
You want a perfect score.
Well, wait. Which one? Wait. Oh, yeah, right.
The very
Okay.
first one about the common areas.
Yeah. Who owns it, huh? We'll
Yeah.
talk offline. I think we'll have to have a discussion. You guys, thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for being contestants.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, ladies. Well, Joe, I mean, it was our pleasure. We're glad. We hope you enjoyed yourself. We enjoyed having you in studio. Did you have a good time with the Saturday HOA Brunch?
Had a great time. It was great hearing our board members out there, and what a great idea, guys. Thanks again for inviting me and letting me be involved.
Yeah, and we've got a couple minutes left. I just want to touch on this Associa Cares, which is an organization that your company has, which is very they give a lot to the community.
Yeah, let us know what's that about, Joe.
Well, it's everybody out there in the world has troubles at times, and
absolutely,
our company has its own nonprofit that helps people in need through, if it happens to be a natural disaster that occurs, a fire or anything that
the floods right now in Texas and Oklahoma.
Floods right now. We sent money over to Nepal during their situation
Earthquakes.
as well. We're actually sending people out to help on the East Coast, because there's a hurricane out there that's coming, and so we're sending out our people out there now.
And can you imagine, without an organization like yours with a global reach like Associates, how many associations could have a natural disaster, and then you have an organization like yourselves that steps up to the plate and says, "Hey, we're going to try to make this whole again."
Well, it's important that we all do our share. So I'm glad to work for my company.
What'd you think of the show today, Epstein? Did you have fun?
Oh, absolutely. What a great show. Great battle of board members. Joe Price with Associa. Thank you so much for joining us today, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Fiona, welcome back.
Thank you. Not for long, but I'm back.
Linda and Holly, a couple of great ladies. Thanks for listening. We look forward to hearing from you again. Look us up on Facebook, the Saturday HOA Brunch.
We'll see you next week.